The truth behind the viral claim, Traoré versus Trump. It's a headline that exploded across social media, igniting debates from West African forums to Western think tanks. But what really happened? Is there truth beneath the smoke? Or are we witnessing a carefully crafted illusion? It began with a series of sharp, provocative speeches by Ibrahim Traoré, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso. Known for his unapologetic defiance of Western powers, Traoré has quickly gained a reputation for saying what others won't. In one particular speech, he referenced leaders who destabilize nations while speaking of freedom, and figures who cloak corruption in democracy. He never used the name, but online, many pointed their fingers toward one man, Donald J. Trump. That one inference was all it took. The internet went into overdrive. Headlines twisted, posts multiplied, and suddenly the narrative was set. Traoré had exposed Trump. But what did he actually say? And more importantly, what didn't he say? This is where things get interesting. Few online pages began linking Traoré's words to a trove of alleged intelligence files reportedly seized from operatives connected to foreign-backed destabilization campaigns in the Sahel. Among these documents, unverified leaks suggested that certain American political consultants, some once close to Trump, may have had indirect ties to resource deals, private military contractors, or lobbying networks operating in West Africa. The claims were vague. The names were redacted. The sources? Anonymous. But they were just credible enough to light a fire. Suddenly, Traoré's words were being replayed in a different tone. Analysts began dissecting his metaphors. Was his critique of imperial masks a jab at Trump's America First policies? Were his comments on theft disguised as trade about U.S. corporate interests? Some Pan-African thinkers believe so. They argue that Traoré is doing what few African leaders have ever dared, drawing a line between African suffering and foreign fingerprints, not just pointing at Europe, but at the United States too, including, possibly, Trump. But others are more cautious. They warn that this could all be a misreading, another case of the internet filling in blanks that don't exist. Traoré's words were powerful, yes, but ambiguous, symbolic, perhaps intentionally so. And still, the question won't go away. What adds to the mystery is the global silence. Neither Trump nor his allies have addressed the viral claim. No media outlet from the US has investigated. No embassy has issued clarifications. It's as if the world decided to ignore it and hope it disappears. But history shows us, silence often speaks louder than denial. In West Africa, Traoré has become more than a military leader. He's become a symbol of resistance, of sovereignty, of a continent reclaiming its voice. If he does possess damaging information, whether about Trump or the broader Western agenda in Africa, he would have both the motive and the platform to use it as leverage. So far, though, he hasn't, which raises another question. Why not? Is he waiting for the right moment? Is this a strategic warning rather than an open confrontation? Or is the claim itself a distraction, a viral exaggeration designed to stir public opinion? One thing's for sure, the narrative of Traoré versus Trump didn't appear in a vacuum. It emerged in an era where African nations are rapidly cutting ties with their former colonizers, where sovereignty is being redefined, and where foreign influence, no matter the source, is under a microscope. Whether Traoré truly has something on Trump, or whether the viral claim is just an internet invention, the deeper truth is this. People are hungry for leaders who speak boldly. And when Traoré speaks, people listen, not just because of what he says, but because of what his silence might mean. So, is this really Traoré versus Trump? Or is it Traoré versus the entire global system Trump once represented? Maybe the real, Conflict isn't between two men, but between two visions of the world, one where Africa is dictated to, and one where Africa decides. The claim went viral. The truth? Still unfolding. And perhaps that's exactly how Traoré wants it. Because in the world of geopolitics, silence isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's strategy. Ibrahim Traoré has proven himself not just as a military figure, but as a tactician of perception. Every speech, every pause, every metaphor he uses is calculated to provoke thought, and often discomfort. So when he speaks of foreign actors masquerading as allies, the ambiguity isn't accidental. It forces both the people and the powers to guess, to analyze, to wonder. Who is he really talking about? And that's where this gets even more layered. You see, Trump represents more than a name. To many Africans, especially those questioning the West's historical role on the continent, Trump symbolizes a wider apparatus, one that includes powerful corporations, foreign aid with strings attached, and military partnerships that don't always serve African interests. So when Traoré condemns external manipulation, it doesn't have to be personal. It can still be political and symbolic. Still, that doesn't explain the leak. Those whispers of intelligence files, intercepted communications, her names connected to West African resource routes. If even part of that is true, then the Traoré-Trump narrative becomes something much more dangerous. It suggests not just a critique, but possession of classified evidence, evidence that, if released, could cause diplomatic damage on both sides of the Atlantic. Some believe that's why Traoré hasn't gone further, that the viral claim was a test balloon, to gauge global reaction, to see who would respond, who would panic, and who would pretend not to notice. And the response? A strange mix of silence, deflection, and vague concern. No denials, no official rebuttals, just quiet, monitoring. Is that fear or just smart politics? Let's consider the flip side. If the claim is false, why hasn't anyone stepped forward to dismantle it piece by piece? The world has entire departments dedicated to counter disinformation, yet on this matter, nothing. Could it be that denying the claim might bring more attention to it? Or is it possible that somewhere, behind closed doors, certain figures are worried that Traoré might know more than he's saying? There's another layer too. Traoré's timing. He's emerged as a leader in an age where African youth are rejecting old alliances, questioning old truths, and demanding accountability from both local and foreign powers. By speaking in riddles that imply deeper truths, Traoré is fueling a cultural movement, not with answers, but with questions, the kind of questions that unsettle the powerful. And this might be the real purpose behind the viral claim. It's not necessarily about exposing Trump. It's about exposing systems. Systems that have hidden behind diplomacy. Systems that smile in public but extract in private. Systems that counted on Africa staying quiet. So whether or not Traoré directly pointed at Trump, the narrative has taken on a life of its own. Because people are ready to believe that secrets have been kept from them. And now they believe someone might finally be willing to reveal them. And maybe that's the most powerful part. Not the evidence itself, but the possibility that the evidence exists, that the age of secrecy is over, that a new generation of African leadership isn't afraid to say, "We see you. We know what you did, and we're not silent anymore." So the question remains, was this really Traoré versus Trump? Or is Trump just the beginning of what's being challenged? Because when the system is the real target, names don't need to be said. Their shadows speak loudly enough. And in the end, maybe that's the truth behind the viral claim. And perhaps that's why the story refuses to die. Because deep down, people sense something has shifted. Not just in Burkina Faso, but across the entire continent. There's a new energy, a new boldness. Leaders like Ibrahim Traoré are not just making statements. They're making moves, real, tangible moves. Expelling foreign troops, rejecting imposed deals, nationalizing resources. This isn't theater, it's transformation. So when a claim goes viral that suggests Traoré might be holding secrets about someone as globally polarizing as Donald Trump, people don't laugh it off. They lean in. They want it to be true, not just because of what it says about Trump, but because of what it says about Africa, about power shifting, about truth finally being in the hands of those who've long been silenced. But with that comes responsibility. Traoré hasn't confirmed anything. He hasn't made threats. He hasn't dropped names. And maybe that's the brilliance of it all, because by saying less, he's said so much more. He's created a question so powerful, so discomforting, that even the world's most powerful men seem unsure of how to respond. Meanwhile, the people are asking, if these secrets exist, what are they? Why haven't they been revealed, and who benefits from them staying hidden? The claim is a mirror. It reflects not just on Trump, but on every deal made in the dark, every foreign base built on African soil, every contract signed without consent. It puts the entire post-colonial arrangement on trial, and it dares the world to defend it. So no, we still don't know if Traoré exposed Trump. There's no leaked file, no press conference, no shocking footage. But maybe the bigger question is this: did he need to? Because maybe Traoré's real goal wasn't to prove something about Trump. Maybe it was to prove something about us, about how quickly we believe there could be a connection, about how broken the system must be for that connection to even make sense. In that way, the viral claim did more than spark a controversy. It sparked a conversation, a dangerous one, a necessary one. And now the world is watching. Not for answers, but for the next move. Because when a young African leader speaks in riddles and the powerful go silent, that's not noise, that's signal. And the real truth, it may not be viral yet, but it's coming.